Hello and welcome back to Ask-a-Techie. This is episode 8. My name is Tim Smale, e-learning fellow with the Faculty of Health, and to my left I have Matthew West from the LPDC. In front of me I have Matthew Street from the LPDC, and in the far corner we have Jonathan Knight from IT Services.
Just IT.
Just IT.
We're it.
We've had a rather long break from last Christmas, but we've decided to come back through popular demand. And we've now got a series of sessions planned, one every month, probably for the next year, hopefully. And we'll try and theme these recordings around popular topics. The topic that we're looking at today is actually starting up for the semester. I know we're a little late for getting ready, but we are going to look at some of the new things that are coming on board this semester, and also answering the questions that you've submitted to us so far. The first question, which we alluded to in our email, is what is Bob? Bob is a new system that we've had purchased here at Keele, and we'll just have a look at this here. And it's actually called Bob National, and it's a box of broadcasts. John, do you want to explain this one?
It was something that was looked at last year. I mean, obviously, up until now, we've been able to record any TV programs that the lecturers wanted. We have a license for doing that, and this kind of allows far more scope, really, because if you see a program that's important, you don't have to sort of book it to be recorded. You can just go and look at it retrospectively, which works a whole lot better. And that's the key driving reason why we purchased it. So what it's actually used for, it may not necessarily be the same thing.
So if you wanted to use a TV program, Humans, for example, which was a series that ran on Channel 4, you could filter down to make sure you really get the ones that you want under the channel name here, duration and genre.
It's got about 4 years worth of stuff in there.
Yeah, so I mean this was only run back in June, but you can instantly come back. Someone has requested that it be recorded or it's automatically picked up, and you can instantly watch it. Now, it's rough cutted, so there's going to be the adverts there when it was broadcast live, but you can jump straight into it. And
the nice thing is you can set the do the transcript search. So if you after a particular section of the broadcast, you can go and look for it in the transcript.
So is this actually
and you can actually do a clip. So if you only want to if you want to put it on the KLE with just a small clip in there, you can actually say, you know, just go from here to here. So if you want to find a section of a panorama program that you're interested in, that's dead easy to do.
Yeah. So this is the full transcript from the.
It actually pick it up from the subtitling.
Right.
So it's the subtitles that were broadcast with the program, which is quite a neat way of doing it.
Okay.
It's a very powerful tool.
So how would I go about creating a clip from this then?
The little button, bottom
see that button there says "Create Clip." Oddly enough,
you actually get a small little video editing system. You can choose your in and your out point. Once you click on Save the Clip, it'll give you a particular embed code for that clip.
Okay. So I can add multiple.
You can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And each section then you could put inside the KLE and add a context script around it. So
it's not probably appropriate to suggest cutting out the adverts by creating multiple clips. But
absolutely, for educational purposes.
So save that clip there as an example.
There's the clip, and there's also you'll see an embed button just below.
So this is how we're putting it into the KLE.
Yes.
So we've got our embed code there, and we'll copy that and paste it in the same that we do our YouTube videos, I guess.
Yep, same way.
Okay.
The waferless URL, that confuses people because that's an odd term. It's where are you from is what it's. So when the students first arrive, they will say, pick your institution, and then it will ask them to log in. If you use the waferless URLs, then that already knows where you're from, so it assumes you're from the same institution. So it just skips one click, if you like, for the students.
Right. I know there's a member of staff that has found this quite useful for actually radio broadcasts. So it's not just TV that we're looking at here.
Foreign language. I think it's basically anything on Freeview is on there.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just trying to find the full program guide, but
just scroll up, just slide.
Oh, it's
just click and drag.
Yeah. Oh, okay, drag in there. Not quite as user friendly as scroll, but so we've got a lot of the Freeview channels that are available, and There we go, into the radio broadcasts as well. So we've got probably all of the BBC.
You've got the World Service in there as well, which is useful.
And also foreign languages. We've got French and German channels in there at the same time, and Italian. Is that RT Italian?
Russian at the bottom, RT.
Is that Russian?
Yeah.
Cool.
So anything in the future, if you want to make sure it's recorded, you can select that and then go to request program. Anything in the past,
if it's already been requested, you can just click and use it. If it hasn't been requested, you can click the button and say, I'd like to request this, please, and it'll be made available to you. So, and it goes up to about 2011, 2010, something like that?
It is. It's over 4 years now.
Yeah, something like that.
Back catalogue content. Plus, all the other content is in there from the old BUFC, BUVC programming that they used to record.
So a very powerful tool for education.
Yeah.
You can use the MyBob option as well to create your own playlist and also view other people's playlists.
I believe students have access to this as well, don't they?
Oh yeah. This is anybody with a Keele. It's done on the single sign-on, so anyone with a Keele University username and password, straight in.
Inside the UK?
Yes, I think you have to be.
Okay.
And I think I haven't tried it from when I've been on holiday. I thought to have given it a go. Really.
So
It's something that's implemented by looking for where your IP number is.
Maybe our staff or students internationally could try this one out for us and let us know. Apologies if you can't access it. It's not something that I guess we've got control over. It's licensing laws, I guess.
It's broadcast laws. It's
We
supposed
have
to
a
be
license.
UK.
Yeah, we have a license for UK only, so that's where it should be watched.
There's,
So I wouldn't encourage anyone to break that law particularly.
No, not at all. There's a support site on online as well, isn't there? Keele University, keele.ac.uk/Bob.
Do you want to just check that just to make sure?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, no.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Oh, have you forgotten what it is?
Yes.
Some
IT/Bob. There we go.
There we go.
You can also access it from within the KLE too. It's one of the sub-tabs.
So there's a link to it there, and you can access it from there, or just by going to what was their URL?
Bobnational.net.
Yeah, bobnational.net. Okay. So the first question that we were asked by a member of staff here was around using Google Docs effectively, including how to best organise and locate them as individuals, groups, and different sharing options. So we're really starting to take off with Google Drive, certainly in my areas. I'm guessing you three are seeing a similar increase as well.
Yeah.
So it is starting to get to the point where I think people are wondering what is the best way of organising these things. I suppose it's the same as any file structure really, but there is the sharing settings that I think start to confuse people. So if I just demonstrate on here, obviously this is the My Drive environment, and we can create folders from inside here. We can see files that are shared with me. This is a new account, so there's none in there at the moment. But if we just create a demo folder.
That is a key thing, is actually if you have a lot of documents that you share with the same people, the easy thing to do is create a folder for a particular subject to stick everything in it.
Yeah.
Saves a lot of time and effort.
I can either share this individual document, right click and go to share, select it, go to the share icon up the top there, or do it to the inside the document. But if I wanted to group several documents together, I can drop them into a folder and actually share that folder. If I just share that with there we go. And send that off to Matt. If I then put a new file inside this folder as well, that's going to share that with Matt as well.
And it's already appeared on my own personal drive.
Yep.
The folder is there.
So there we go, we've got a new test document, and that'll have appeared on Matt's page as well. If I just open that up, Matt's already starting to edit it. Now, what tends to worry staff is when they own a document such as this one here and they decide that they want to move that back to My Drive, you get this move out of shared folder, and so it tells them that other people are no longer going to be able to see this file. Now, if you own that file, that's fine, you're going to be able to do that, and it's up to you whether or not you want to move it out. Similarly, if you create a document outside of a shared folder, so just into My Documents, and drag that into that file, it's going to warn you that you're going to be moving it in there and sharing it with everybody in that group. I'd rather actually that message actually listed out who it was going to be sharing it with, but I suppose it could be a rather long list, but it's an extra step if you want to see who it's going to be sharing it with, because you have to just go back into the share setting and just see who it's been shared with. So the way that I typically work is that I have quite a large folder structure on mine, so let me just share my screen with you all.
Of course, one of the things to point out is the search box at the top is rather useful. When you can't find what you've lost, type a few keywords in and they all come up. I think the Google kind of expect you not to actually organise things that well and to just search for them when you've lost them.
Yeah. So this is my structure here. I'm not showing this in the room unfortunately, but everybody else can see this. So I've got loads of folders in here. Some, such as this one down here, are shared, and most of these aren't at the top level. But when you start going into some of these folders, you'll see that there's shared folders within those. So I'm just using it as I would do any other folder structure, really. Now, there is actually the color option as well. So if you're not familiar with that, when you right-click on your folder, you can actually go to change color and pick a particular color that you like to categorize. Or you could even add a star to your folder, and what that does is then puts that into the starred section on the left-hand side there.
I suppose there's one point that if you make folders in My Drive and move files into there, that won't affect where they are in other people's drive spaces.
No, because it all turns up in the Share With Me folder, doesn't it? But you can move them from that Share With Me folder into your folder structure.
Yeah, you can.
Which, again, is something not everyone actually knows how to do.
So, Matt, could you share a
I can share one with you. What are you?
learningtechnology.aat.
Oh, nothing short then.
Technology. Just thinking of someone wants to tidy up their drive space.
Yes, the easiest way to do it, yes. I mean, there are the views as well. So you had the list view and you had the
of course,
thumbnail view.
Yeah. Whilst that's just coming through, the search feature at the top here, that will search not only the title, it will search the description. And for those that have not seen the description, if you click the I symbol on the right and go into the details of your file, there is actually an add a description option down here to add a description for the file. So if you wanted to add in more key information about that particular document, you can do so. I mean, that's particularly useful for non-Google Docs, so PDFs, images, etc. So the search will search for the title, the description, and it'll also search for the content. And the interesting one is that it actually will search inside your images. So if you took photos of documents, if you took photos of receipts, things like that, and then went back in and searched, it will actually search inside those images for you. It does an OCR text recognition on those images. So we're going to the shared with me, and we've got a slide there. We can just click and drag and drop that into these other areas. Now, if I drop it into the shared one, obviously it's going to warn me that I'm sharing that with somebody else as well. So now Matt also has the ability to. And
that's an option actually. When I shared it with you, I was given a tick box to say whether or not you were allowed to share it with anyone else.
Yeah.
So I can turn that on and off, so I can control how far this gets shared.
Yeah. Now I know that there are some schools that have got to the point where they are moving things like this particular member of staff says the V drive, which is a network storage drive. They're starting to move some of their content onto Google Drive because it is so accessible. And if that's done in a controlled manner and policies around who can edit are carefully thought out, one school that I work with, they have moved their quality assurance drive into Google. So key documents that don't change very frequently have been moved onto there so that staff can access them when they need to. So it helps them to work away from the office environment. And as long as that's thought through properly, there's no real problems with doing that.
We've actually used it for some of our disaster recovery policies, that things that we know we need to recover from major disasters at the university.
Yeah.
We put those onto Google so that we can get to them from anywhere.
Yeah.
So if for some reason we can't get to our offices, we can still get to the documentation to fix things, which is kind of important, really.
Yeah. So the next question, it's more of a bug report, really, but we've been playing around with it. And you're saying that you can't.
No, I've created 2 pages inside the KLE, two items on there, because the report is that if you include some audio onto the KLE, then it autoplays when the page is loaded. But I've just tried 2 audio MP3 files, one as an item, one as a file, and neither autoplayed when the page was loaded. I did have to click a button.
So if
not sure how widespread the problem is.
Yeah.
No.
So Ian, if you can come and demonstrate, we'll certainly love to have a look at that, or John would certainly love to have a look at that.
Thank you very much.
But I suppose that the first question, we would ask is we're testing here on Google Chrome.
On Macs, by the looks of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And on Macs, but that's one thing that's always worth investigating. First of all, is are you using Google Chrome, the university-supported browser?
Are you using an image machine in your office? Are you using an image machine in a lab? We need to sort of drill it down into that area to find out why it's behaving the way it is for you.
On a side note, I'm getting a lot more students this year coming to me and saying, I've tried to do X, Y, Z in the KLE, and I said, well, what have you been using? My iPhone. And they're trying to access the KLE through the web interface on their tablets and mobile phones, which obviously is not an ideal user interface, really.
It's a good point. We also sort of say that there is a mobile app which is available to the students at Blackboard charge £1.49.
Yes.
As a one-off charge.
Now, is that the 1-year license or the
no, that's forever.
That's with petrol.
So I was actually talking to a student who recently left the university yesterday, and they said, "What mobile app's that then?" Having never heard of it. And so top left-hand corner of the home screen has a little download link for the Blackboard mobile app, and it is £1.49 for it.
Yeah.
Forever. It doesn't do the portal page, so you don't get that. You do just get the course content. Now, Blackboard have a new free app which is being worked on at the moment. It's out in America. It's not out here yet. So when it's out here, we'll actually probably do a demo of it so you can see what it looks like. And again, that's focused at delivering content to the students. The Blackboard mobile app I know is particularly loved by the visually impaired students because one of the nice things of the Blackboard mobile app is it tells you all the things that have changed. So as soon as you run it up, it tells you everything that's changed in all of your courses. So rather than have to go through each course trying to find the new stuff, you can just say, fine, it's here. And then, of course, Siri will actually read it out for the visually impaired students. So they get quite a big advantage out of using it. So it's quite a useful little gadget. But like I say, the new one's coming out. We will bring it here and test it when it's available.
Brilliant. The next question here is from Ed DeQuincy. And he is asking, he's obviously got some extremely long pages in the KLE. He likes to keep everything on a singular page as opposed to putting them into subfolders. And he's asked, is there a way of grouping multiple things, files, links, etc., into a singular item? Into a more collective view, but still being able to keep the statistical tracking on there. One thing I know that this particular member of staff likes to do is look at the statistical information about accessing the content and doing some analysis on that. So, before he said that, obviously the immediate thing comes to mind is that, well, if you build an item and put multiple attachments into there, it's a single item, but yes, then you do only get statistical tracking
You're just tracking
on
one
that
item.
as a whole, as opposed to the individual components. So, I mean, one thing I think it was yourself mentioned was learning modules.
I was just wondering, can you do the stats on it? And you can by the looks of it. So yes, learning modules are the thing that I think is closest to what you want. It doesn't keep everything on the same page, but you do get a navigation column on the left-hand side of all the content that's available, and you can open it up and close it up as you want. And again, that it kind of does the statistical stuff because you just view items and files and all those kind of things within a learning module. For those who remember WebCT, it is a port of the old WebCT learning module stuff that we had to use back in 5 years ago. So it's just a port of that, really.
So if I build content,
your screen? We're not online now.
I've got it on this one, unfortunately.
Are you showing
signed
everyone
in.
can see?
Yeah, everyone can see my screen.
Okay, it's a learning mod. Yeah, just creating a learning module.
So you just create a learning module, and then you just go into it, and you can then add items as you see fit, and it will then create a navigation on the left-hand side in a hierarchical structure.
Yeah.
So as long as you make your titles nice and clear, it does mean people can just click around it a lot faster than actually running up and down subfolders.
Yeah. So if you put everything into the one learning module, it becomes like an index on the left-hand side, and the content appears on the right there. You can actually shrink this menu bar off by just clicking on that darker grey section there as well. But just remind students how to get it back. I've had so many students come to me because they've clicked that by mistake, and then they can't find their menu bar. So remember to if you get the students to hide that, get them to bring it back again. And you can put the content into there. The other thing that occurred to me was using the colours of the titles there. When you edit items after you've created them, you can actually change the colour of the name. So you could choose a colour scheme for the different categories that you're trying to group together. I suppose the other thing to remember is that when you do go into a student view for these, so just go into a previous student view, it does lose some of the bits of extra information that you see as a member of staff. So adaptive, release, student tracking is all lost. So it does shrink it up just a little bit.
It's worth remembering though, if you go down the colour route, remember a lot of people are colourblind.
There are
accessibility issues around changing colours, so use it warily. But it's a good way of highlighting stuff. And so we are heading into an era now where long lists and deep scrolling on pages seems to be coming back. It was the thing that we always tried to stay away from.
It was, and I think
with the content on a screen size of page. But now we're going towards tablets, smartphones. The idea of flicking through your phone or your tablet and scrolling up on lots of deep pages.
I think the original reason that people moved away from the deep scroll initially was because if you had a page load with so much content on a slow connection, it just took forever to load. These days, obviously, most people have got access to a faster connection, but also we've got new tools that will prevent larger content such as images and things from auto-loading at the start until actually you scroll into view. So it kind of just loads just a blank area until you scroll into view, and then it will call up the image from the server. That's not something that happens inside Blackboard. So I suppose a singular page, if you're putting a lot of imagery into there, you might need to be careful for some students that are on a slower connection. But it is an interesting one to consider putting all the content into one page. I certainly know that it's something that nursing are doing for their pre-registration students this year. They're putting all of their content into a single folder. Now they've got a year-long module, so this might be extremely large. But the students were finding it very hard to find the content, because if it was put into folders by week, they had to refer to the timetable. And if it was done by topic, then they weren't always quite sure where the newest content was. So the staff this year have decided to do a singular folder, similar to what Ed was asking about, where everything's going to be in a single page, and the students are being taught about using the Control F or Command F if you're on a Mac feature to actually search the content of the page. So staff are being told to make sure the descriptions and things are there, and then just searching on side onto that page with the web browser's search feature. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch this year, see how well they get on with that.
Yeah, I know Medicine trialled it a while ago to try and move to learning modules to make it easier to find stuff. It was partially successful. It did get very complicated for the academic staff trying to organise everything, particularly with so many contributors working on the same set of pages. It might be easier if there's only one person actually writing the module. That might make things a bit simpler.
Yeah. It's, I don't think there's a perfect way of doing this yet.
No. The what's new feature is key. If you're adding content in, having what's new on the front page so people can quickly find what you've just been changing.
Yeah.
Might help.
I think that the hardest part is actually when they're coming back to do the revision. That's the hardest part. Is coming back and finding. You know that there was a lecture. You know it had a slide on this, and coming back and finding it. It's one of the reasons that I've been looking into whether or not we could pilot a course this year where we actually put the content, still use the features of Blackboard and put a link through Blackboard, but actually hold the files inside Google Drive and give the students access to Google Drive so that they can use the search feature to search within the content rather than just the title and the description. Anyway, the next question here is about setting up Google Plus communities to communicate with students. And what's the best way of doing this? It's something that I've been doing in my schools. Have any of you been playing with Google Communities at all?
Not in the way that you're referring to them, because this is a replacement to what we used to have as notice boards.
It could
for
be
programs or for schools.
It could well be, yeah.
That you're giving them this space where they can interact and share information. Messages can go up. I'm interested to find out how much moderation you think is needed, Tim, in what you've been using up to now.
I can't think of a single time where we've had to moderate a post from a student in Google+. I think the nice thing about it being linked to their university account is that the students appreciate it's a professional environment, whereas with Facebook groups that we've had going on, yeah, every once in a while there's a post that has to be moderated because somebody shared something that's a bit more inappropriate than maybe the space that they're using calls for. So I mean, let's have a quick look at the settings for this. We obviously have to go into Google+. Now, actually, this is a good point. That the first thing if you want to use this with your students, the first thing you're going to have to tell them to do is to log into Google+, because to be able to invite them in and work with them in Google+, they need a Google+ account. All it takes is for a student to come into their emails, click on the app selector, which is this icon in the top right, these 3x3 grid of squares, and just select Google+. The first time they will do that, it'll ask them for some information, including their date of birth. Now, their date of birth doesn't have to be accurate. You don't have to give your accurate information. Just make sure that you're over 13 years of age.
There's a problem with American
Well, preferably
company.
18 years of age. But
American companies have a problem. They're not allowed to store any details of a minor, and they're allowed the explicit permission of parents. So what most of them do, particularly Facebook and Google, is if you put a date in there that's less than 13, they just throw your account away straight away, just to avoid any legal issues. Mm-hmm. So you've just got to make sure you claim to be at least 13.
We had a member.
Actually, I think it's 18 on Google+, isn't it? I think it's 13 for Google Mail and 18 for Google+, I think.
Really?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. We might have a look in that.
So just everyone should be 21.
Students that are still not 18 yet.
Really?
Ooh, so we might have to
just check on them.
now.
Yeah. I think it's 18.
When you do sign up, please don't enter an age that is less than that. We had a member of staff that was kicked out, and when we asked them what information they'd entered, they said, well, I don't want to give Google my date of birth, so I entered today's date.
Yeah.
The resolution at the time was then that they had to use their credit card and pay a small nominal fee to activate
It's
the card.
about 15 cents. I think it's about the smallest amount of money you could possibly put on a credit card is what Google charge you, just to prove that if you've got a credit card, you must be 18, therefore that's okay. I think we can do that now.
Yes, there has been a change in the admin console, so you can now go to IT services, prove that you're not still wearing nappies, and they'll reactivate your account for you. So inside
Google though.
So inside Google Plus here, you can come into the communities section on the left, and you can set up a new community through Create a Community up here. Now you can restrict it to Kiel, or you can not restrict it. And obviously, if you're only using it with Kiel students, then obviously you do want to restrict it to Kiel. And you can say whether or not it's open within Kiel or private. Open obviously means that anybody can come in and join it. You can turn on that they must be approved before they can access it, or
Yes.
private means that you have to invite people into there. So I'm just going to create a demo community here. Once the community loads, it gives you an option to change the title, even though you've just entered it. The ability to put in a tagline there. You can pick a photo, and then you can add categories down the side here. So these are the discussion boards inside this community. Now you can have as many as you like. The nice thing is that when you come into the community, by default you're showing all of the latest stuff from all of the boards, but then it allows you to pick the boards that you want to read about. You can add in information about this community, additional links, location if you really choose to do so. You can change who can join down here through, this is invite only, so you can click on the change there. Once you're done, click the done there, or it was up in the top right hand corner. And the first thing it's asking you to do is to invite people. Must remember to use the correct keyboard. And you can send messages off to them to be invited into the community. On the community board you can post textual messages, you can add in photos, links, videos, you can create events, you can do quite nice little polls, just ask very quick questions to your students. So if I just post a textual one, you can see it just drops into there. Let's just do a quick poll.
So this has similarities to, say, a Blackboard discussion group or a Facebook group. So what do you think are the key wins of using a Google one over those two?
The win of this is that you can guarantee it's your students coming into here because they're using their Kiel credentials. Okay. Facebook, John Smith tries to join the community. Without standing there whilst your student John Smith is logging on and clicking onto that, there's no definitive way of double checking that that really is the right person you're letting into your Facebook group. The other one is, when discussing this with students, I've certainly found, is that they prefer to separate out their academic and their social environments. And so by having Google Plus as their academic environment, it helps them to make sure that they're professional in this environment and they can do what they like in their social.
But it's also, there's also spaces in Blackboard which has never really taken off. But
no,
but that kind of tries to fill that same. There's a lot of tools that try and fill the same sort of gaps.
I mean, the other nice thing that Google Plus does have is the apps on the Android and iOS, and so it pops up notifications to the students as well, things like that. This nice little poll just drops in there, and you just get a little counter that carries on. And if Matt then votes as well there, this will refresh in a second, or I can just there we go. We've got the refresh indicator there.
You taking part in the poll?
Did you vote?
I did vote in the poll.
Maybe.
So there's 2 votes on my screen.
Never demonstrate online. Well, I suppose, did you vote? Oh no, it's only a one vote.
It was probably dealing with my happy to be
here
here comment.
It does. It's, yeah. I don't know why it still says 1 vote. I'm sure if I hold down Control and refresh. There we go.
2 votes.
2 votes.
Same result, because you voted A as well.
Yes.
I can change mine.
Sorry.
Oh no.
I've just changed to B.
You've changed to B as well. There
Yeah. We did 3 options.
Yeah. And so you can see the categories down the left-hand side here is just saying all posts at the moment. That's because we've only got the 1. But if we edit the community and add in a second category and just click Save onto there. Now when we look at it on the left-hand side, we get the 2 there. And when we go to post a message, it won't let us actually post a message until we decide which board it needs to go onto. So you can set that there. So hopefully that answers your questions about setting up a Google community with your students. I've certainly found it very powerful with students, especially when it comes to them asking questions. A lot of academics tend to find that they get asked the same question, time and time again. Yet the academics that I've been working with, actually, the first time they get asked the question, copy it from the email, paste it into the Google Plus, and answer it there. And they then said they don't get asked it again because the students see that message has gone into there. They get a nice notification depending on what type of notifications they've set up for themselves. And they know that that's a repository of answers for them to come back to.
One quick question, Tim. You added me in just by typing in my email address.
Yes.
What happens if you want to add in the whole cohort of students?
So
Did you just have to have a comma separating each email address, or a colon?
you can type them in. I've copied and pasted them in before from an Excel spreadsheet. So I had the email addresses in rows and just copied those in and pasted those.
That works.
Yeah. The other way of doing it is the way that I've just been doing it with the new physiotherapy cohort is actually I changed the permission from invite only to yes, people in Kiel can find it and ask to join.
Right.
But when they ask to join, it actually pops up a little box in the members section. So it sends me an email every time they ask to join, and when I come in, it brings me into the view that shows me the members. So manage members here, and there's a new box at the top here which has a tick and a cross next to the people, and it lists their details. So I can instantly cross-reference against the register and only approve those that are part of that particular cohort. And then once they're in there, you can turn it off, stop anyone else asking to join it. So it depends if you want to do sort of a push or a pull technique of getting your students in there. It might well be that you end up doing a combination of the two.
Are there examples of this, Matt?
Yeah, I'm just posting a link into the Google Plus community now. Physiotherapy, actually, Claire Stapleton.
So is that on the solutions
It's on
blog?
solutions.
It's on our
blog,
question sheet, isn't it? I think now.
Yeah. Does this integrate well with something like Hangouts? I mean, can you do a video room effectively, or anything quick like that? Do you try pushing any of those buttons?
Bringing people in from a Hangout. I've not tried.
Well, not bringing people in, as in you've got a group of people. You just say, right, I'm going to do like an office hours. I can wander in here, hit a button, and everybody who's part of this group can see the Hangout started and join in.
I've not tried it. It's maybe something we'll experiment with before the next one.
Oh, that's sharing video, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a share. It's not a live broadcast of a Hangout.
I suppose the option would be to just try and invite people here quickly on our live session.
Never do it live. It's got to go wrong. It's a rule of technology.
No, it doesn't seem to. Well, my very quick testing doesn't seem to come up in Google Hangouts live on air, but it might work inside Hangouts. It's something maybe we'll explore for next time.
Yeah.
I suppose the danger is that you end up with 40, 50 students trying to hang out with you at the same time.
You might reach limits on that front.
Yeah.
Could you just show us that link that Matt's put up as well, please, Tim? He's put it on the question document.
It's also in the community as well. I've just posted.
Oh, you said it's a community.
Yeah, done both.
There's me looking away from the screen.
Where is it?
There
Just
it is.
there, yeah. So that's a link to show that Google Plus community is being used.
Yeah. So how can people get to the solutions blog if they're looking for it without going to this link?
You can find it through the LPDC, the Learning Professional Development web pages predominantly, or just search LPDC Solutions in Google, and it comes up in the top three hits.
Brilliant. Okay. There was a question asked about managing folders in email accounts. Now, when I spoke to this person, they did say that they thought this was in a previous Ask-a-Techie episode, which it was. So what we'll do is actually put in the comments below this video, we'll put a link back to the particular episode where we went into email in quite a depth, I think. So it's probably better to refer back to that episode than to cover it again here.
But yes is the answer to a question. Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah. So yes, you can move between folders.
Yeah.
Yes, you can put them
delete
into two.
folders,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can put them into two. Yeah.
Everything she wants to do, yes, you can do all of that.
You can do those things. Yeah.
It's incredibly flexible and slightly confusing.
So,
It's confusing by its flexibility, isn't it?
Yes, it's fully
Yeah.
featured.
so some other bits of news. Currently, we're looking into an issue with Turnitin. It's not currently accessible worldwide, is it?
China, I think, have blocked it again, which is a shame.
Yeah.
There's a problem with Turnitin in that it tends to use something. It's called a content delivery network. What big sites do is they tend to put all of their static content, like their images and their text, they put it onto a large farm of servers which just serve out the static content, and their main website then just deals with all the dynamic stuff, the actual plagiarism checking, if you like. The problem with using these content delivery networks is they're shared amongst a lot of people. So if there's a particular country that decides that they don't want their internal networks to be able to access a particular piece of content, they block the whole of the content delivery network, which tends to hit a lot of sites that are just not related to the problem at all. I think that's what's happened with Turnitin. It happened last year for about 3 months. It looks like it's happening again this year. Normally Turnitin run around and figure out how to get around it. It can take a while to work out how to get themselves separated away from whoever it is that's causing the offence, and then it all comes back to life.
Yes.
In the meantime, safe assign in Blackboard.
Safe assign work. Well, yeah. Well, it's an equivalent. So you can do a Blackboard assessment, tick the safe assign box, and you'll get much of the same sort of features.
Most of the features.
Don't get quick marks.
No.
Before anybody asks, that quick marks ain't there.
No.
So some updates over the summer from Google. One of the most impressive ones that I've seen so far is voice typing inside Google Docs. So those of you that aren't
It's very good.
Yeah, it's
We've all played with it.
yeah.
It's really good.
So if I just share,
Funny, she was watching my daughter trying to use it, and she got, she goes, David Livingstone was an African. No, stop, go back. No, you just get all the text in the middle. Yes, that was quite funny to watch.
So if I go into our document here, and under Tools we have voice typing.
Should we all press it at the same time, I wonder? No.
Well, it should work. We'll just overlap with one another. So if I just bring up the microphone here for my laptop, and then you just click on this button here to start typing. Allow it to use your microphone, and you can start typing away. Full stop. New paragraph. And Google will start typing out everything that it hears you say. It is context aware as well, so occasionally you'll see it go back a couple of words and change the word that was there. So for instance, you just saw China in there and it changed it because it recognised that I couldn't have been talking about China because of the context, and so went back and actually changed the context, changed the word to match the context, full stop.
It actually works better the quicker you talk as well, I found when I was using it. If you talk at a natural pace, it seems to work. It seems to be more accurate than if you try and slow down to make sure you pronunciate the words properly, which I was quite surprised about.
It's a learning piece of software. It does seem to develop the more you use it.
It will pick up on you. So when you go back and actually correct things in that document, it will start to learn from you, I'm sure, and work out certain ways that you talk versus other people.
I think it's worth just reminding ourselves this is going from your laptop straight out to a server somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And coming straight back on the screen in virtual real time. I mean,
it's
as a
impressive.
service, it's very, very impressive.
One of the other ones that is available now is new changes. So see new changes at the top here will highlight the changes that have been going on. So it's kind of like track changes that we still have. But what this allows you to do is to see all of the changes since a certain date in one place. It saves you having to go through several different revisions of the revision history to see what's been going on. So it's just a nice way of collating those together. Other interesting ones from here. Have you all seen Explore in Google Sheets?
Yes.
Let me just see if I can find a Google Sheet here that's okay to bring up. Let me just find a sheet very, very quickly. What this allows you to do is basically, instead of having to create stats, I'm struggling to find a Google sheet.
Go on, describe it to us, Tim.
So instead of having to use graphs yourself and put graphs onto a page, it will automatically start to do this for you. Here we go. Let's find an older version of the document. So let me just share my screen with you all. So down in the bottom right hand corner here, there is now a little star symbol, kind of like a plus, but I think it's supposed to be a bit more like a star. And when you click this, it'll automatically create some statistics from the page. It will try and work out what's going on your page and suggest sort of stats for you. If you like any of them, or they are what you were looking for, you can just click on the plus chart button there, and that will put the chart inside your spreadsheet.
And it's locked to that data stream.
Yep. And so you're into the quick edit mode where you can change the colours and everything like that. Or you've got the drop down button up here to do the advanced edits and so forth. But it's a very nice little way of getting quick stats. Very, very useful. That sheet is an example of responses from a form. And I know a lot of people have had issues where they can't get the graphs quickly and easily from forms. So that is now a very quick way of seeing graphical representation of your form data. So anything else you guys have seen that's been interesting to you from Google over the recent months?
No, those are the main.
No, I think they're the main ones.
Some are fun.
I thought I would finish this up with a new word that I heard today, which is starting to make its way into more common terminology, called fubbing.
Okay, I'm still worried.
This is where people snub somebody else by looking at their phone. So if someone is talking to you and you start to look at your phone whilst they're talking to you,
I know
that is called fubbing.
Is that PH?
Definitely.
PHUB?
You thinking of me?
PHUB or FUB?
That's PHUBBING. Snubbing someone by looking at your phone.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll be back again in November. We'll post details up onto the LPDC's weekly email and circulate where necessary. Please keep your questions coming. The more challenging ones are certainly the more interesting ones for us to deal with. We'll hopefully see you for episode 9 in November. Thank you.
Thank you.